Hello everybody, dear students. In this video we are going to see about health education. Mostly we'll see about the principles of health education, which is an important question at undergraduate level. Health education plays a major role when it comes to creating an awareness among general public so that he or she can be aware of the health problems that could occur in future or that is already present in their own body from preventing it. So, in that context, health education is a process that informs, motivates, and helps people to adopt and maintain healthy practices and lifestyles, advocates environmental changes as needed to facilitate this goal, and conducts professional training and research to the same end. This is the definition of health education, which was given during the National Conference on Preventive Medicine in USA. It has certain aims and objectives, which includes to encourage people to adopt and sustain health promoting lifestyles and practices, to promote proper use of health services which is available for them, to increase interest, provide new knowledge, improve skills, and change their attitudes in making proper decisions to solve their own health problems, to stimulate individual and overall participation and involvement at various events, to identify their problems, to solve them. There are four approaches to achieve health, which includes regulatory approach, service approach, health education approach, and primary healthcare approach. Primary healthcare approach is very important when it comes to public health dentistry specialty. Regulatory approach is nothing but it makes use of the existing law or legislation which is present in which is given by the government to protect the health of the public. It is usually given by the government. Examples of it includes Pollution Act, Food Adulteration Act, all those things. Service approach is nothing but it aims to provide all the health services to the general public at their own doorstep. They don't have to come to us. We have to go to them to provide service. This is service approach. Health education approach is important because it is the effective means for achieving changes in their health practices and do lifestyle modifications in the community. It includes motivation, communication, and decision making among public. Results might be slow, but they are very permanent once it is developed. Primary healthcare approach is the last type of approach. It involves full participation and active involvement of the public, starting from planning till the delivery stage of health services. It includes equitable distribution and community participation. Moving on to the principles of health education, the first most principle is credibility. Credibility is we should give trustworthy information to the public or population whenever we deliver a health education kind of a speech. The whatever we deliver, the facts or things, the speech, it should contain facts and scientific knowledge, not just random information that could influence people. The second principle is interest. The topic that is being presented to the public should be a topic of interest to the people. It should not be about any other thing, but it is a topic of interest for the public which should help them or assist them in their own health issues. And we should identify the felt needs of the public before we deliver a health education speech. The next principle is participation. Any individual who is on the opposite side at the receiving end should be able to participate very actively when it comes to health education. It shouldn't be an one kind of interaction. It should be a two-way interaction. So it's always better to conduct group discussions and panel discussions instead of just delivering a guest lecture kind of a thing. And the next principle is motivation. The fundamental desire for learning in an individual is motivation. Any individual should be motivated by himself or herself, or the motivation factor should be encouraged by the speaker. They could have primary motives, which is an inborn desire for something. The secondary motive is created from outside. So either of these two kinds of motivation could be present, and it is appreciated. Comprehension is the next principle. Comprehension, as the word implies, it's the level of understanding or the literacy rate of an individual. The way we deliver the speech, apart from the topic of interest, it should be in a way the person who's at the receiving end should be able to understand. It should not be at the higher level or at the very low standard. It should be at the level in which he or she is able to understand whatever the person is delivering, and it should be communicated in the language the people understands, which means it should be in the local language, and never use words that are strange or new to people. Don't use technical terms whenever we deliver health education, and teaching, it should be within the mental capacity of the audience. That is very ideal. The next one is reinforcement. Once we deliver the health education for the first time, it does not end with it, because it varies among different individual. Some might just pick it up at one point of delivery. The other person might not give a positive attitude. So reinforcing the same thing again and again, which means repeating the same thing at a different interval, helps them to grasp it gradually and adapt it in their own lifestyle. So it refers to the repetition that is needed in health education. So a booster dose is always required when it comes to health education. The next principle is learning by doing. Like how we teach children, it is also important to teach the public or general population about health education through learning by doing fact. It is a simple thing. I can explain it through a Chinese proverb. If I hear, I forget. If I see, I remember. Whereas if I do, I know. So once I do a certain thing, I can remember it very well. I know it because I know the whole fact. So make them do the process. For an example, if you teach them brushing technique, ask them to perform it with a model, so that that person will remember it throughout their lifetime, and whenever they do it in their own life, they keep repeating it in the same manner. So doing it helps them to learn very quickly. Learning by doing. The next principle is known to unknown. Always start from the simple one and move on to more complicated one. From known to unknown. Start with a known example or with a known topic and move on to a complicated one. So start with an existing knowledge and then proceed to a new knowledge. This helps them to understand better. The next one is setting an example. This is another principle of health education. Health educator should follow what he or she preaches. For an example, if I am delivering a health education to the public, I should be the one to follow it first. I cannot, break it and then teach other people to follow it. So I should set an example to the people who I expect them to follow. So that is one thing, setting an example. Moving on to the next principle, good human relations. Health educator should have good personal qualities and should be able to maintain friendly relations with the other people. And the health educator should be kind and sympathetic among or towards the general public. The next principle is feedback. Always collect a feedback to find out if any modifications are required to make the program very successful or effective. Poor feedback or a good feedback could help the health educator to improvise. So collect a feedback once health education speech is delivered. Next is community leaders. People learn most from whom they respect much, and leaders can also be used to educate the people. Instead of delivering the speech through somebody or through a professional who's not very familiar among public, a leader or a celebrity could be asked for help to or requested to deliver a health education speech, which could create more impact among public compared to a professional. And always you can try to penetrate the community through such local leaders. To rural people through head of village, it is an example. To school children through headmaster or school teacher who they are familiar with. I think this is the last principle of health education: soil, seed, and sower. This is actually a newly added principle which was not there a few years ago. Soil is nothing but it is an example of a prior knowledge of the people, the custom or habit or any health needs that is essential, which is already prevailing as soil. Seed is something which we ingest to the soil, the health facts which should be truthful and based on scientific knowledge, it is ingested among the people. Sower is nothing but the transmitting media. How are we delivering it? That is sower, the transmitting media. It should be attractive, palatable, and acceptable among public. With that, the principles of health education is over. The contents of health education and the aids that are used for delivering the health education will be covered in a different video. I hope you find this video useful. Thank you so much.